Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the first of hopefully a series of videos of what I call a bio of a dio. It's essentially a video showing everyone how I had put together a particular diorama from the physical props and all that to the assembly of the video. And this particular diorama was for Shartimus Prime's 5,000 subscriber contest. Congratulations, Shartimus Prime, and hang loose there. And this particular dio is also called an ACBA, which stands for Articulated Comic Book Art, which was pioneered by another YouTuber, Bugnice10. Hang loose. And ACBA, the main emphasis on ACBA is the action figure as the actor in your diorama. Also, the use of props, and particularly what Bugnice10 likes to refer to as comic book cutouts. I hate cutting out my comic books, so I just end up using lettering through the computer and printing that out. I really can't see myself cutting out my comics. But anyways, before we get into all the items here in this particular diorama, we're going to go over to my computer and show you how I assembled the video. I want to get through that first because all that techno-geeky stuff. And also, it's really where I start on my diorama before I actually put this together. So we'll be right back and be at the computer next. Okay, we're at the computer and we'll go over all of the techno-geeky stuff. And a lot of the techno stuff is actually related to the assembly of the video, not really tied to the ACBA. There are some parts that are, but we'll go over all of this techno stuff first before we get to the actual ACBA. And one of the first things I do before actually working on a contest entry for an ACBA is actually go over the rules that the host of the contest has laid out. And what I've done here is cut and pasted Shartimus Prime's contest rules, and we'll go over this real quick. First up, we have the video must be a response to the contest video. It must have ACBA face-off in the title. Marvel figures only. You have to be subscribed to Shartimus Prime. He's asking only 2 characters, not 2 figures, but characters. And he would like 1 entry per person, not channel, but person. No more than 2 minutes long, and I think this is one of the most important rules there. And the rest is related to the contest prizes. So we have 6 winners will be chosen, and going from 1st to 6th, you get to choose 2 figures. And one of the other rules for the award of the prize is you have to pay shipping for the figures. And contestants most likely to make it in the top 6 will have sick poses, special effects, foreground, background, and comic book cutouts. Now, I've imposed one rule upon myself, and because of the limited space that I have to create the ACBAs, one of the rules that I set for myself is to limit my workspace or ACBA space to a 12-inch by 12-inch square area. And in that self-imposed rule has a lot to do with this 2 minutes long limit that Shartimus would like on his videos. And I agree with Shartimus that 2 minutes is actually plenty of time for only 2 characters in your ACBA. I think that's more than enough. And with my self-imposed rule of a 12-inch square ACBA workspace, I think that 2 minutes is actually plenty enough time. Actually, I think it's more than enough time. And we'll go over that in a little bit. But first, we'll go over the the next step that I work on my ACBA. Okay, with the rules in hand, the next step that I do when creating an ACBA is actually think up of what I want to show. And basically what I do is I storyboard what I want to show. I'll get a piece of paper or a napkin, whatever's available, and just start jotting down ideas. And usually I'll do a doodle sketch for the position of the figures and layouts, and also sort of camera angles I'd like to shoot, what I want to shoot video of, and also jot down a basic story, because that's what an ACBA is. It's telling a story through freeform video and action figures. And with Chartemis Prime's rule of 2 minutes and only 2 characters, and my self-imposed rule of a 1 foot square area, the storyboard, it didn't need to be written down. I had it pretty much all in my head and ready to go. Actually, I had more than one scene for my figures. I wanted a showdown, basically a round 2 between Iron Man and Iron Monger. And but because of the 2 minutes, I could probably shoot 2 scenes at the most, but 2 scenes wouldn't be enough to tell the story. I think it would have been incomplete, and I think just 1 scene would have been pretty much good enough to tell a story. And but with 2 minutes, that's a long ass time to shoot 1 scene. So I decided to go ahead and fill half the 2 minutes with the video, and the first half with a cool intro type of thing. I wanted to take advantage of Ninefire's Marvel intro and use that to create a credit sequence and to make it a little bit cooler, like a movie. And so I thought about actually filling the first minute or close to a minute of an intro, and giving credit to all of the resources that I used to create the video. Now that I was down to 1 scene, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and shoot an ACBA of Iron Man laying the smackdown on Iron Monger. And the basic 1 minute shot would have been a static shot of the entire action. Do a slow zoom to the most dynamic angle, focus on that a little bit, and then come back out to the static shot of this ACBA. And with the 1 minute that I had for that 1 scene, I decided to go ahead and insert a couple of I don't know, jarring scenes, not really scenes, but shots, just to break up the monotony of a slow zoom in out. And I decided to do some sort of like a frantic editing style, a la Tony Scott, or the famous still shot zoom of the Hawaii Five-0 of Jack Lord. I don't know if anybody remembers seeing. It's basically a bunch of still shots zooming into Jack Lord. I wanted to do something similar to that, just to add a little bit of punch to the video. Now, I don't have a narration or a dialogue in my video because my voice acting skills are pure suckage. And speaking of narration, I did see one of those contest entries. I think it was Collecticon. It was the video with the Brood and Ms. Marvel, and I have to say that narration is kick-ass. It is really, really done well. And I think it's Collecticon. If I'm wrong, I forgive me, but that is one nice narration, by the way. Well, anyways, since I don't have the skills for narration or dialogue, I have to resort to music to fill the video. And knowing that half of my video is going to be a credit sequence and the other half is going to be the ACBA. I needed to create a music file roughly in 2 minutes length, with a somewhere in the middle at the 1 minute or around 1 minute, to segue from the credits to the action. And to create music, I use Magic's Music Maker. I think it's a German company. I'm not sure, but it's basically sequencing software or loop based music creation, and is really great for non-musicians such as myself, and to create filler music. It doesn't really provide any melodic creation, unless you really work with the loops, the music loops, and really manipulate them to create a melody. But it's mostly filler music, and it's pretty neat. I have it here loaded up, and I've had Magic's Music Maker ever since the early 2000s, and actually, I think it was in the 90s, because I was a fan of music trance, and that was it's a lot of repetitive music, and it's easy to create trance or electronica through the sequencing software. But anyways, I decided to go ahead, create it through here, and I wanted to use a music score type theme. I'm a big fan of music scores, movie scores, excuse me. And I decided to fill the first half with atmospheric type music, and then segue into drum, a steady drum type pattern. And you can see here, these are actual recordings that are provided either with the software or you purchase separately, what they call sound pools. And they're basically recordings of either what they call bars, or I thought they were measures, but really it says bars here. They're either 2 bars in length, 4 bars in length, or sometimes 1 bar in length. And it's usually multiple instruments, or one instrument playing different types of or different ways of playing the same notes. And it's like I said, it really is just like you stitch together this type of music. And I decided to go ahead and start with the intro first, and let me go ahead and put this in solo. And I chose an atmospheric type, ominous type. It's called ominous here, and I'll play that. And you can hear. And that's actually pretty neat. And at the time I selected this, I have a cheap pair of speakers, and when I played it initially, it sounded pretty good. And then when I actually heard it through my headphones, it actually sounded quite different, and actually a little bit better. I did not know that this particular loop had some wind in the background. Man, so that was pretty cool. And then after about 4 or 8 bars of this ominous music, I went ahead and introduced a cello. Let me go ahead and add that on here and start it here. And this cello sequence here, they have different types of cello sequences. Let me just go ahead and bring up some different cellos. So it's kind of neat, but a lot of them are legato type, really smooth and relaxing. And I wanted something with that was more staccato, that provided a little bit of tension. So that's why I chose this particular one here. And I think it adds a little bit of tension with the ominous score in the background. So that's kind of neat. And also wanted to add some drums or booms. At the very beginning, I don't know if anyone can hear it in the very beginning, there's an actual boom sound. Like that. just to wake up, I guess, the viewer. And there's a couple more toward the ends of the measure and start of the next one here. Let me move it here, I'm sorry. And that's just right before the start of the next major measure with these cellos. And then after the introduction of the cellos, I wanted to do a choral intro, and added that. And to add an epic feel to it. And right about near the transition point from the credits to the actual video, somewhere in the middle, I went ahead and included all of the cello, the choir, the ominous score, the booms, and also a set of world drums. Here, let me show you the world drums, or let you hear the world drums. And that's more like tribal than anything, and to get you into the action itself. And just before the combination of all of that, I had the volume of the cello and the choir just turned down a little bit. And then at the start of this major portion where the video transitions from the credits to the action, I have it the volume turned up. You can see these scales here a little bit smaller, so the volume's turned down a little bit. And then it's pretty much at full volume. And then about 2 measures after that, I drop all the music and just include taiko drums for hopefully when I match the video and the audio. Hopefully this is at the close-up where the action is taking place from the static opening view. And here's some of the taiko drums. And hopefully that provides a lot of tension. And I provided a couple of different type of taiko instruments, or sound loops, different ones. Ones where you're hitting the taiko drum, and then there's I think a portion of this part of the video that includes hitting the stick on the taiko drum. And I thought that was kind of neat. And for the frantic edit portion of the video, I decided to use one of the taiko drums. Here, let me solo that. You can hear it. It drops the audio in that last second bit, and then I added a response type of taiko on here. I don't know if you can hear that. Here, let me try it again. Yeah, this response area is really where the those 3 photos stitched together to provide that frantic edit. And I later found out, listening through my headphones again, that there are actually 4 beats on per that break, not 3. Because if you look at the video, there's only 3 photos stitched together as opposed to 4, so I missed a beat. So that's unfortunate. And then at the end, I have another repeat of the taiko drum and a boom to match the boom that was at the very beginning of the video to end the video on there. So, but this is the music portion of the ACBA. All right, to edit all of my videos that I post on YouTube, I use Windows Movie Maker. It's free. It comes with Windows, and actually there's 2 versions, one for XP and I think one for Vista or Windows 7. And I've used both, by the way, and I actually prefer the XP version. The Windows 7 version I had to really get used to working. It's a real pain because you lose the time bar here. But anyways, I use Windows Movie Maker. It's free. I'd rather use free products if I can. I'd rather spend my money on figures than on expensive software. Anyways, for Movie Maker, I went ahead and started to import all of the the audio and the video here. And right here is the Marvel intro that's was shared by Nine Fires. And you might want to take a look at one of his videos. I can't remember which one it was, Nine Fires, but there's one video in there where he shares a link for the DC intro and the Marvel intro, and really gracious of him to actually provide that for the community to use. And I decided to go ahead and use the Marvel intro because it's Marvel-based characters. And I also imported the music that I created, and I inputted it just towards the end of the Marvel intro. I wanted to do that special movie type of intro where some of the movie companies start introducing the music even though the intro is not fully shown. And like DreamWorks does it for some of their movies. I guess Marvel does it for some of the movies, and Nine Fires did it for one of his movies. He introduced Professor X in one of his Marvel intros. Anyways, I just wanted to include the music, starting the music off. And by the way, the music ended up being about 1.5 minutes, not quite close to the 2 minutes. So that kind of limited to how much I could shoot on my video and how much I could actually fit into my credit sequences. And so I had to fill this much of the area here to get to the full score of all of the cellos and all of the choral and the world beat music right about here. So I had to fill this area with credit sequences. So I had to play around with both the length of the credit sequences and also the video effects for the transition between one credit sequence to the other. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 credit sequences, and I have a bit of filler in here. It's basically just a black screen to provide some of the tension between my A369 Presents and the actual title of the video, to a little bit of a break for anticipation for the actual title on there. And there's a video effect of fade in, fade out here, and then right here is the actual start of the video on here. I'll have to cancel this here. And the video here is muted because you really don't want to hear my munchkins in the background on the actual video when I shot this. So I wanted to have the music taking the place of the actual audio from the video. So all of that is muted. And by the way, I shot video of various lengths from a minimum of 45 seconds to 1.5 minutes, just in case because at the time I didn't know how long the audio portion would be and how much of it would fit in the total video. So I actually, and I also don't have the steadiest hands. And my videography skills are not up to snuff, and it took me, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 takes just to get one that I was actually particularly happy with, because a lot of the takes I kind of slip on with the camera, or I show stuff beyond the blue screen on the background, and it just a lot of 12 takes just to get one that was just right, without too much of wonkiness with the camera on there. So, but I found it was actually the last video that I was pretty much happy with, and that was about, I think, 45, almost 50 seconds long. And you can see one portion here, it says it's 29 seconds long, and that's because of the frantic edit. And at this portion of the audio here, you have those taiko drum break with the responses, and I wanted to do 2 frantic edits, one for the first set, and then you got 2 sets of taiko drums with the breaks, and then the final taiko drum break with the response. So I wanted to pretty much bookend those. And these were the 3 photos I used to stitch together the taiko break on there. Basically, the first 3 photos was the first break, and it's basically just a pan to the what I thought was the optimal angle for the action. And then the second set was for hopefully when I synced it all up was during the pullback, and that frantic edit was basically a zoom in while the camera was zooming out, and just at different angles on the zoom on there, basically like a zigzag pattern on there. So I put that all together, and it fit with the intro and the audio portion. Looks at a total of 1 minute 36 seconds. So it was well within the 2 minutes. I guess I could have put, if I wanted to extend the music sequence to 2 minutes, I guess I could have, but decided it was good enough at 1 minute 36 on there. So, but this is basically the editing portion of the video on there. Okay, before we end the first part of this video, I wanted to at least share with everyone 2 items while we're at the computer here. And the first one here is the Blambot website. Now, Blambot specializes in creating comic fonts and lettering to use on either print or web comics or whatever you want to use it for. And they do provide a combination of free and pay fonts, and it's actually quite neat, and I think it's a great alternative to using or cutting out your comics. I really can't see myself cutting out comics. And the fonts, they have them in different categories. They have dialogue fonts, sound effects fonts, design fonts, symbol fonts, and you can see here's a sample of different kinds of dialogue fonts. It's really cool, and it either tell you it's a P for pay, F for free. I think L is what is it? Limited edition fonts. Probably says only available during San Diego Comic-Con, and they're probably pay fonts. But still, it's got quite a few free fonts if you're not willing to pay for them. I recommend at least buying 1 or 2 to support them. And I think it's really great because they have different styles. This is just their dialogue fonts. They have sound effect fonts here in different styles, not as much as dialogue. They have design fonts here. It's really cool on here. And the last one is the symbol fonts. Basically, instead of letters, they use symbols. Even have pictures here for zombified brains, it's called. That's a pay font, by the way. But they have like alien lettering or fantasy based lettering. Just really cool. And I can't remember when I found this site, but it's a great site to use instead of cutting out your comics for the lettering on there. So I highly recommend supporting this site. I'd pay for a couple of them, or if you want, just go ahead and pull some of the free ones. But I'd recommend this highly for your ACBAs. The next thing I want to recommend is a book. I don't have the book with me to show you, but I guess the next best thing is to show you a copy of the book on Amazon. And that is this book here. I've had a copy of this book since the early 80s, I believe. I think this book was first published in the 70s. I can't remember. But I've had this book. It's called How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's a Marvel book. It's written by Stan the Man Lee and John Buscema. And I had bought this book originally as an aspiring comic book artist, but I eventually found out my skill set in drawing comics isn't not quite there. It's at the very bottom, actually. But this book provides a lot of tips on how to draw characters dynamically, how to position or frame your drawings, how for composition, layout. I think there's even a bit on lettering and all that. But yeah, this is a book on how to draw comics, but it really does apply to ACBAs, because basically ACBAs are comics in video form almost. They basically tell a story, and a lot of what applies in this book actually does apply for ACBA, as far as like point of view shots and also dynamic action shots, perspective, the use of your camera to shoot your actors in your dial, or in a comic it would be a comic frame, you could say, point of reference. But really great book, and I highly recommend this as a guide. It's not rules, but it is a guide, and there are exceptions to what they provide as input. But really great book, not just for drawing but also for posing. So I think this will be it for part one of this bio of a dial. Hope you're not snoring through this at this point. Thanks for watching and listening, and I'll see you in part two.